Here, as colonial warriors, led by the hosts of the show, Mullet Dharma, Adam O'Brien, the lethal mullet, the co-founders of this amazing channel of FPN, Kyle Wagner and Kevin the Raider Nerd Reitzel. Also, from the other side of the United States, the one, the only, the ever-impressive Davis Grayson. All here aboard Mulletstar Galactica. There are those that believe that life here began out there, far across the universe, with tribes of humans who may have been the forefathers of the Egyptians, the Toltecs, or the Mayans. Some believe there may yet be brothers of man who even now fight to survive somewhere beyond the heavens. Welcome to Mulletstar Galactica, your look at the 1978 Battlestar Galactica, with your hosts Adam O'Brien, the lethal mullet, Kevin the Raider Nerd Reitzel, Kyle Wagner, and of course the one, the only, Davis Grayson.
And folks, welcome to episode number 6, The Gun on Ice Planet Hoth. Sounds like something from Star Wars, doesn't it? And of course, we're talking about this little bad boy, a little bit of shopping and photoing and shopping we've done here for you today. Of course, that is all about the episode's a two-parter, and in some ways is kind of a, I think, a good sort of nod to, well, some of you get later. I guess they knew about Hoth, maybe. Maybe they'll make a Battlestar in 79. Maybe because they were making Empire Strikes Back as well at the same time. Kind of. So that is the one we're covering. We're going to cover the second part in the next episode, episode number 7. So this is The Gun on Ice Planet Zero, Parker's Prisoners Clones in the snow. Clones. Didn't Star Wars have clones too? That's right. You crazy guys, you BSG guys, what are you doing, mate? What are you doing? And so we're going to get right into it. Obviously, you can imagine this episode had, quite a bit of set work, even though, they're not going to take them away from Los Angeles and go somewhere else like that, are they? It's just not going to happen. So here on today, I'm just by myself. We don't have Kyle or Davis or Kevin the Raider Nerd Retzel. No, instead it's just me. So the mullet will be taking you through. If you ever wanted to see what happened when someone in 1978 watches the Guns of Navarone and the Dirty Dozen back to back and says, well, it was freezing. It could be freezing and in space. Just imagine what that'd be like. Well, that's what you get in this episode. And it is kind of, it feels like a World War II episode in some ways. It's got a giant Cylon laser cannon, convicts in snowcaps, human clones done on the cheap, because it's TV, folks, and human clones that all look suspiciously like the same 3 extras, and Boxy taking his robot dog for the worst snow day ever. This is The Gun on Ice Planet Zero. And it is, I think, one of the stranger episodes, but also one of the more family friendly. I mean, even though it's a family show, we know that. But in this one, it's sort of really geared towards kids, I think, in some ways too. So welcome back to the fleet, you glorious bunch of fracking legends. You're listening to Mulletstar Galactica, the show where the sci-fi is classic, the takes are fresh, and the hair is gone, even though we do remember our hair. And there is always business up front and party in the back. I'm the Little Mullet, and today we're going, of course, full whiteout on the ice planet. We're tackling the original Battlestar Galactica Season 1, Episode 6 and 7 from October 1978, the two-parter. And we will look at the second part a little bit more in the next episode more. But we're still talking about it. We will go through both here to a certain extent because it is part of it at the end of the day. If you grew up on this like I did, this is the snow episode. If you didn't, buckle up because we're getting into it now. So, quick continuity check. The fleet is running on fumes, low on fuel, low on food. They ain't got no rack the chino on this one, bad boys. Sitting right in their path is the ice planet Arcta. And on Arcta, the Cylons have built a monster. That's right. You've seen it in World War II. So it is the Guns of Navarone. This is what this episode is. It is that. Then they went, hey, what's George doing? Is George doing some kind of snow planet there? Let's do that. And that's literally what he's done. The guys have really done that. So the premise is straight from the guide, is beautifully simple. A special task force made up out of mostly convicts is dispatched to destroy a giant Cylon-operated pulsar cannon on the planet Arcta, directly in the path of the colonial fleet. And that's literally what it is. And it couldn't be simpler. The cannon is, of course, a Ravishol pulsar. One shot can vaporize a battlestar from 1 million miles away. The Galactica can't go around it, can't shoot it from orbit, and Adama has to do a ground job. That's literally what happens. And he doesn't send his best, he sends his most available criminals. So this is why it's like, obviously, Dirty Dozen. Which, I think makes it a more interesting episode. These are people that may at one time been heroes and now they're not, and now they're more a case of, hey, mate, I'll do it, but you got to set us free, right? And that's where it gets interesting. So, it kicks in. So the mission briefing itself really kicks in. Apollo gets overall command, but the actual demolition survival expert is not Apollo. The prisoners selected include a former ice planet garrison commander, Croft, and his demolitions expert, Wolf, and the alien environmental expert, Thane, and the sub-zero expert, medic, Leader. Croft is the ringleader, played by Roy Thin's backstory. He was basically a colonial commander who was jailed with his 3 compatriots for plundering a Cylon platinum mine and refusing to surrender his booty to colonial forces. He kept the goods, and then got damned for it. So you got Wolf, played by, of course, Richard Lynch. Yeah, if you're a Canon Films guy like me, I love those films. He's all over that stuff, man. The bad guy in Invasion USA. If you remember a certain movie, and of course it has a 3-bladed sword, and then 2 of those blades shoot out. He's the sorcerer in that. The sorcerer, the Sword and the Sorcerer, I think it was called back in the day. We've also got a number of other things. He was in Buck Rogers as well as this as well, playing that guy that ran the casino. And he's just got one of those faces. He should have been a Bond villain. He was a fantastic actor, actually, for his time, and just took whatever jobs came and really gave it something. He was ex-military guy as well. Quite interesting dude. Thane, James Olsen, described as an inventor. Blah, blah, blah. That's what it feels like to me. An environmental specialist who can lead anyone through anything, even murder. We also got that's played by James Olsen, pretty cool. Leader played by Christine Belford, the medic, trained by the sort of climate they're going to, Sub-Zero. And oh yeah, she's a Croft's estranged wife, because of course she is. And of course you got to have a bit of drama, and of course add in Starbuck and Boomer as babysitters. And if there's one person in amongst this group that will have some kind of feeling for these guys, it's got to be Starbuck, right? Starbucks is that kind of cool dude that you go, maybe they're right. Maybe we should keep that kind of money, Could put some fittings on a Viper. You never know. Could be one of those things. So there's that. So part 1, this is what happens. They drop into the Arcta, and it's 60, minus 60 Fahrenheit. To us in Australia, I can tell you it would be fracking cold. Fracking snow everywhere and fracking bad weather. There you go. So to be like minus 30. The shell gets knocked around. They lose contact because no Galactica episode is complete without, of course, the endangerment of Boxy. Boxy and Moffat also stow away on the ship to join the group. Of course, that lies some of the dangers that come across. And, of course, the thing that they always gave Boxy weird stuff to do like that. That's the thing. Like, it'd always be in the middle of the thick of it, and then Boxy's gone missing. Murphy, get him, find him. It's anywho, they find out in part 2 the cannon wasn't built by Cylons, built by Dr. Ravishol, a colonial scientist kidnapped and forced to work for him, and he has to help the Thetas, which we find out very, very soon. And this is where the episode goes from war to just weird, pulpy sci-fi. 70s weird sci-fi. The goofy sort of Logan's Run look to it too with the uniforms. And you'll know what I mean. You see the white uniforms, the colonials that have to sort of deal with these clones and stuff, you know. The theaters are shorthand for theater class life forms, essentially human clones created by noted colonial scientist Dr. Ravishall, who's kidnapped by the science and forced to work for him. And he goes, I need people to work for me. So I needs to, make some clones. And he does. Ravishall made them as slave labor. Scientists think of them as subhuman, sterile tools. The twist, they aren't sterile. And this is where it gets interesting. Obviously, they turn out to be a little bit more human than people let on. So Apollo learns that the theaters are more than just laboratory, and there's a lot more going on behind the scenes. They are fertile and have procreated very well, much to the consternation of the Silence, who basically decree the sterility, the price to pay for being allowed to live. Their children are hidden from the Silence in the village. This is what we find out at the end of part two. And of course, there's that. So you've got this whole sort of hidden colony, which we find, and this was where we find Britt Eklund, who is one of the guest stars of this episode. And it's led by Tenor, and is an absolute icon of the 70s. And she was particularly, beauty and stuff like that too. And of Fur Bikini Parker combo that only 1978 could get away with. They couldn't do it now. Theaters Hellbound guys get into the pulsar, and Wolf tries to double cross everyone because Wolf got a wolf. And Wolf is, of course, the same guy that tried to do it to Chuck Norris and then wet his pants because Chuck Norris is Chuck Norris and Chuck does what Chuck does, and he kicked his ass with a rocket launcher. That's true. So there's that too. But Wolf, again, is that's the sort of area that he comes from. Leader dies in the snow, which is actually pretty brutal for this show. And Croft redeems himself by blowing the living hell out of the gun. So he sets everything up and really becomes a hero. So I kind of feel like, in other circles, he probably was a hero to begin with, but something happened. So snapped upstairs. He went, I'm keeping the money. Give me them fracking credits, boy. Yeah, I got to keep them all for myself. No robots, no bots. And I tell you what, this young fella is going to keep him. That's what he said. So Starbuck, meanwhile, goes off a mission to rescue, of course, Cadet Cree. He crashed to the snow because Starbuck cannot walk past a side quest. You got to have Starbuck be a hero. He's like any of those greats. You got to get them out there, get them doing stuff that are off the mission because he's just an adventurer. So they blow the pulsar that topples like a giant space Jenga tower. Boo, 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 boo. And it goes everywhere. The fleet passes. Dummer commutes the sentences, of course, to all of them, and Croft gets his honor back. It's classic. It is. As it should be. It's like that. It's Dirty Dozen in space. Why wouldn't you do it? It's great. It sort of fits that perfect area. So after that too, of course, we're going to go into why we actually love this episode, because it is one of the more classic episodes, and in particular, I think with all of it, most people forget just how good they are. But we have, of course, some messages.
Fleeing from the Cylon tyranny, the last Battlestar Galactica leads a ragtag fugitive fleet on a lonely quest, a shiny planet known as Earth. Thank you for joining us here on the Lethal Mullet and FPN's Mulletstar Galactica. We'll catch you next time. Be sure to check us out at fpnet.podbean.com.
And folks, let's get back into our feelings on this show, with this actual episode. So going to the hots, there's not a lot of knots on this one, apart from it being maybe a little cheesy and stuff like that here and there. But it is a bit ridiculous at the same time. So there's fashion crimes in this one. Proper fashion crimes. Everyone is in these bright orange ponchos in this one that have zero camouflage. Some in the Silence don't even need like their thermal vision or anything like that. And the Cylons are chrome. You can see them from orbit, like shining. No one is sneaking around here yet. What do? They sneak around in the episode. Then there's Muffet. It's minus 60. A Daggit shouldn't have power cells. Muffet should have been frozen robot sort of paperweight, in 10 minutes. Instead, he's bouncing around the snowdrifts. He's at the beach. Legend. The clone budget. So the theaters are supposed to be clones. So they literally hired a bunch of extras, gave them the same striped outfits and masks to emulate tennis features, and thus, of course, making the belief that these are clones. Potentially effective low budget for this sort of 70s period, but 78 on a fuzzy CRT, sure, genius. But in 2026, when we're watching in HD, you can even see the zippers and the masks. That's right. So the Dirty Dozen of it, it's not subtle. Adama even says, we're emptying the prison barge. I mean, Starbuck even says the cutthroats. It's full-on homage, and it works because Dirk Benedict and Herbert Jefferson Jr. play so well as the two who know they're babysitting psychopaths in this too. So there's that as well. So we've got a couple of fracking trivia facts for you too. This episode was a budget saver. Like it was after the pilot, the first few episodes nearly bankrupted ABC Network. They needed snow. So they filmed a lot on this soundstage with fake snow and a couple of location shots. And the wind is a fan guy just off camera, literally. Roy Thins turned down a lot of sci-fi after this, but Richard Lynch Wolfe in this became the 70s and the 80s bad guys, I told you earlier. The face, the voice, perfect casting. He just has that face. And yes, this is where the name Ice Planet Zero stuck in dialogue. It's Arcta, but every kid in the playground called it Ice Planet Zero. So the title just won as well. All right, so for the mullet meter, here we go. You ready? Here we go. Story, 7.5 out of 10. It's pretty good. It's Orange Parkers in this too. Clone Mask, Muffet, and Snow Boots. The cheese factor's 9 out of 10. I mean, even the story alone too, as I said, it's never owns its space, and it knows it. That's the other thing. Mullet factor, it's got an 8 out of 10. Croft has a serious late 70s feathered mane under that hood. Wolf has that lank evil mullet energy, and it's a good hair episode and terrible hats. Overall, it's an 8 out of 10. Ravishal Pulsars here. Central Original Galactica. It's not deep lore. It's not the reboots heavy moral stuff. What's going to happen to the world? My Viper's gone. It's none of that. It's just a fun, cold, dirty mission. It's old school. So you got to check it out. If you haven't watched it since you were a kid, go back and watch the two-parter as one movie. That's what it should be watched at. It's a way better that way. Skip the recap in part 2 because, my God, I recapped it for 6 minutes. My God. And they just don't do a very good job. That's next week on Mulletstar. We're staying cold, we're going hot. You decide. Hit me on the socials at The Lethal Mullet. Of course, if you want me to do The Living Legend with Kane the Pegasus or jump to Buck Rogers and get really, really wild, well, we might, but no, it might be time for some legends. Until then, keep your Daggits warm. Keep your pulsar running and explosions ready. Keep that mullet lethal. And folks, we will see you on the other side very soon for a little bit more Mulletstar next month.
And of course, the Lethal Mullet on all socials at The Lethal Mullet. Welcome aboard the Mulletstar Galactica. Here, as colonial warriors, you'll be led by the hosts of the show, Mullet Dharma, Adam O'Brien, the Lethal Mullet, the co-founders of this amazing channel of FPN, Kyle Wagner and Kevin the Raider Nerd Reitzel. Also, from the other side of the United States, the one, the only, the ever-impressive Davis Grayson. All here aboard Mulletstar Galactica. Welcome aboard the Mulletstar Galactica. Here, as colonial warriors, you'll be led by the